So I was like, yeah, mate, anything to get out of picking up glasses. So he taught me to DJ, and I got on the decks, I think 6 months later, and haven't looked back. And that's when I met TRiGGA.
When Reinhold hit me up to DJ his Centre Sundays, I was actually considering retiring DJing altogether.
And we brought him back.
Yeah, you brought him back.
I did. How did you know that, by the way? I was hoping that. I was hoping when I left there, no one would speak about that again.
His dad really instilled in us music. He bought us all instruments. I'm one of 6. So there was guitars, bass, drums, pianos and mics. And we were, set up to give the Jackson 5 run for their money, but...
So yeah, mate, no stories.
Thanks for
Welcome
having
to
us.
the Flats. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to Capital Brewing, the sponsor of our show tonight. Thank you for your support as always. Busy week for you guys.
Yeah.
Coming up, a big project in the works. I imagine you've been working on for a while now. The Hotbox Festival is coming up. How's it all been going?
Yeah, I think we started maybe just before December last year. And just since then, it's been just hectic and so many calls during the day, having to all the admin stuff that I hate doing, emails and phone calls and checking in with people every single minute, just making sure everything's in line, and so that when you come to the day of the event, you don't have to worry about anything. And
Yeah, I'll bet.
new experience for me. So it's been a good learning curve. And
So you said December, it was a brainchild. What on earth made you think of setting up a festival in December 2021 in that time when things were getting shut down and it was all unknown? It's a kind of big leap to take to set something like this up.
Yeah, I did this other event called Send It Sundays, and which started, I guess, literally the first chance I could get out of COVID to do anything event-wise. And the idea for the Send It Sundays was just to I've been doing music in Canberra for a while, so I had a few contacts and in venues and DJs and acts and dancers, and at the time, obviously during COVID, I work in the entertainment industry, so obviously I'd shut down for work. I had nothing going on, so once that opportunity came to put something on, that was the first thing that came to mind, and I ended up going down to Rose Cottage because I needed that, like an outdoor beer garden. They had the biggest one, and talking to the owner there.
The pigs up here.
Yeah, that's it. So that was the very first one, which, when was that?
I wasn't there for that one.
You wasn't there. Where were you for that?
I think I missed the first 3.
On purpose. TRiGGA, I've asked TRiGGA to jump on every Send It Sunday since I started. And what was your first one?
Oh, couldn't tell you, but
Can't remember,
it's definitely grown since,
So that just went really well. And so 2 years later, just the need to want to see how far it could go. And
Yeah.
I think there was a message between us asking what should we do next, and at the end of the day, Reinhold do what he wants, and here we are, international artists.
And then along the way, I met a guy called Al, who's now my business partner, and kind of my older brother now. He just looks after me in every which way when it comes to all the festival and admin stuff. So I met him because he'd seen some of the Send It Sunday stuff, and he manages Kira Mossa, who's another Canberra artist who's actually on our Hotbox show. And she, I met up with them one day at a Kiba, and we were talking as they needed a house DJ for an event. I think it's the one you were at. It was the one. Sorry, not you. I think it might have been Slim or Fats that were DJing, and it was a rained out event. Sweet Dreams Festival.
Oh yeah,
Was that you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So she was going to perform at Sweet Dreams Festival and needed a house DJ to run her tracks while she performs. And at that time, I think I'd been a year out from starting the first Send It Sundays, and I was kind of on the back end of not wanting to perform live anymore and just do more of the managing and organising of events. So I actually told them, sorry, kind of out of the game now in terms of performing, but I put them onto Daz. And I think, I think Daz ended up doing it for them.
Cuddles.
Cuddles.
Shout out Cuddles.
Yeah, and then Al and I got to talking, got along really well during that interview. And then he said, like, one day if you ever want to do something big, hit me up. And then I think a year had passed from then, and I'd still only met Al twice. We had an event. I was asked to jump on an event for the Omalay show. Do you remember that Omalay? There was an Afrobeats guy who had about 2.4 million followers on Instagram. Yeah, it was the kind of the biggest artist I'd ever almost was involved in bringing to Canberra, and I'd hit Al up as a Canberra. This guy's messaged me about Omalay's show, probably the first big act we're ever going to bring to Canberra. Are you keen to jump on? And he said yes, and then we got to talking and getting involved, and ended up falling through the partnership we had with the guys actually in charge of bringing Omalay to Canberra. And then Al said, stuff it, let's not worry about their show, let's do our own, and here it is.
Wow. And it's kind of a genre of music that Canberra hasn't seen much of, I'd imagine.
Yeah,
especially not on this scale, and a festival dedicated to it. What was the? I guess you knew there was those people, those fans of that stuff here in Canberra. What was the direction of that? What was the decision in that?
We actually talked that with our first event, what we should do.
Yeah.
The only reason I guess we went down the reggae avenue was because, one, as you said, Canberra hasn't had a reggae festival before, I guess of this caliber, and two, I used to work DJ at a club called Shooters, which became Dolce, and one of the artists on our lineup for Hotbox, his name is Samuels. He was actually our MC of that club, so he used to live in Canberra. And be the MC for the club whenever I would DJ. So deciding on which genre of music to go to was more who did we know in any of the genres in that music industry scene. And for me, it was Samuel. So I said to Al, look, I only know Samuel's. He used to work here in Canberra. He's now moved to Sydney. He's got a couple of tracks. Yeah. So I messaged Samuel. I was like, hey, bro, I've got this idea of doing a music festival. Who do you know, and are you keen to jump on it with us? And he was more than happy to help out, and he's sent us he's the way I got into Swiss to messages because they're good friends. And from there, it then got to meeting DJ 651 through one of the other boys, Junior, who's from Melbourne, and they have good contacts down there. From that, we also got the contacts to go with the Husbands of Hollywood's comedians, and also Elm Street, who is a brother to Hod's. So they've got their own kind of videography business called Elm Street, and so we got them on board to come and record the show. And then from there, it was just one after another, meeting new people, discovering what the industry was all about, and eventually we came up with the lineup based on Samuel's was the first.
Yeah. I didn't know he was from Canberra.
Yeah, he used to be here with the Shooters there.
Yeah.
Oh, didn't you? Yeah, that's Sammy there. He's going to get a bit angry at you posting this because he doesn't look like that anymore. The man's on a trip. I think he's lost about 40 kegs, so I can't wait to see him.
That's awesome.
For Hotbox, and take your shirt off. So yeah, thanks
to represent.
Yeah. So thanks to Sammy, I think the only other chat we had in terms of which genre we wanted to go down was Al had some connections to Citizen K, and through that what's his name? Genesis Owusu. But obviously, at the time we were talking, he was massive, and we didn't really have, I guess, the knowledge of how to deal with artists that big. So then, we went down the reggae avenue, and it's turned out really well, actually.
Yeah.
It's pretty
So maybe I know you're a big hip hop DJ, so maybe a hip hop fest in the future.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's on the cards.
Yeah.
Everything's on the cards now that we've put this on, so I can't wait to get this over
There's
with
no
and go
going
to the
back.
next one.
There's no going back now.
Yeah, unreal. No, it's exciting for Canberra to have stuff like this and get these internationals back.
Yeah.
After they couldn't leave their countries
Yeah,
and couldn't
that's
come
right.
in here for so long. So it's going to be real cool to see how it goes. And we can come back to the fest if we need, but tell me about Shooters. Tell me some of those stories from those days.
Oh, mate.
That
I don't
was
have
one
any stories from Shooters.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
The guy in front of me, though.
that was before my time here, that's for sure.
Was it?
Yeah, I only came when Dolce was around.
Yeah,
So.
I think I started at Mesh, obviously, through one of the boys' songs who messaged me one day saying, hey, I'm DJ at Mesh, and we actually short on DJs. Do you want to? I was actually a glassy at the time. So I was like, yeah, mate, anything to get out of picking up glasses. So he taught me to DJ, and I got on the decks, I think 6 months later, and haven't looked back. And that's when I met TRiGGA.
Right.
TRiGGA flew down as well and joined up to Mesh.
I think we both met each other through songs. So
yeah. And then
there's that connection there.
Yeah, and then through Mesh, we started doing North Bar. I think Playground was also around there in that time. And then the time I started at Shooters, there was only 2 months, I think, before I then became Dolce. So same owners, but just the
rebrand.
The rebrand of. So yeah, mate, no stories.
It's just, I always find it interesting how like a place like Shooters you'd never think of as a stepping stone, but that has led to you becoming a DJ and then to this fest now. Like it's just funny that those sort of places that get overlooked actually do have a bit of an impact.
Yeah. Do you have any stories from Shoot?
No, I don't. I didn't go there much. Yeah. And then
I actually been to. Have you seen? There was a downstairs. I think it was an Irish pub or something downstairs that I went to. A few times.
There was the one next door, the Phoenix too.
Yeah, the Phoenix. That's right.
There's just so many gone now.
That's ridiculous.
And how about some Mesh stories? You had some big nights that.
That's Mesh over there.
Big gigs there.
I think I came down, visited before I moved down, and it was Mesh. We went to Mesh and we were flying back up home. And then coming back down, and they shut. So I got down here, moved in with songs for a bit, and he put me up, introduced me to Rod, who ran Monkey Bar. And so that's where my Canberra DJing sort of started, back where Monkey Bar was it for me for hip-hop, R&B.
Yeah.
Onto Tongue and Groove, and then Fiction now, but Academy back then.
Yeah.
And, I guess all that's changed really is the numbers of clubs that I play at on a Saturday night. It's gone from 3 clubs down to 1. So
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So what brought you to Canberra?
Not necessarily.
Is the work?
Not necessarily. I was I'm a dual tradie and mechanic. I was a mechanic back then, and I just wanted to get out of North Queensland, Townsville. Yeah. Small country town.
Yeah. So come to the big smoke county.
Warm up to the big
city life.
But look, it's been great. People think I'm weird to say that I love Canberra, but
yeah, right. And what did you think? Where did you start DJing in Canberra, or you were doing it a bit before?
I had a residency up in Townsville at the Bank nightclub, and moved down here and started at Monkey Bar again through songs and Rod. They put me on, and kind of Monkey Bar and Tongue and Groove, and then on to Academy, and it's been good.
TRiGGA actually is part of the UMG All Stars.
Shout out UMG All Stars.
Tell us about them.
I'm quite upset I never actually got my invitation to join the UMG All Stars.
Oh, I think it's just a bunch of boys, love what we do, and it's a hobby that took us away from home, and we spent countless hours and nights till AM at certain venues, home away from home. Yeah. And I think Rod, the owner of the nightclub, actually started his own music label, which is Undisputed Music Group. And they formed UMG All Stars, just the DJs out of Monkey Bar.
So I saw that on your Insta. What is Undisputed doing at the moment?
So they run Mile High Club now.
Yeah,
right.
They do their Saturday nights there. They work with, again, international artists as well, they just had Kenyon Brown from Sydney, who's toured the States with Donnell a few times. And
Amani, no?
Yeah, they've had Amani.
Big too.
A lot of local, Aussie artists have come through. And so he just really just looks after those kind of groups when they come through. He's all loyalty, and he knows a lot of, he's got a lot of connections, old Rod, so it's good.
And you haven't lost your passion for the DJing side of things?
No, I never will.
Still want to get out there late nights? And
I'll kind of, I think I've been doing this 9+ years now.
Yeah, jeez.
And it's kind of caught up to me. I've got 2 kids, 2 beautiful girls and a missus. So it's at the stage where I'm kind of happy, to be at home rather than behind the decks these days, because it does take its toll.
Sick of the 5 a.m. finishes.
Oh, yeah, and that was the thing, closing sets. Although I love them, but what a drag. Such a drag sometimes. And
closing sets usually get there for the open and the main, so you're not playing the same songs at the end, so you end up doing like 5-6 hours a night just watching and then jumping on for the last 2.
And so, you kind of get to both move into the promoting, the festival side of things a bit more now.
When Reinhold hit me up to DJ his Senate Sundays, I was actually considering retiring DJing altogether.
And we brought him back.
You brought him back.
And
Canberra has to thank you. Thank you for that.
So, and I've kind of stepped out of nightclubs, and I'm only really doing Senate Sundays these days. And I think this Friday is one of my last sets at Fiction. They got Mason Dane and Mr. C.
Yeah, he's good at that, Mr. C.
Yeah. He's a gun.
Yeah. Mason Dane too. He's on the big thing.
Oh yeah, he's
have to bring T-Pain down with him
exactly.
next time.
Best friends.
And tell us about. Are you both footy players from back? Ex-footy players from back. Tell us about your time in France, man.
I did. How did you know that, by the way? I was hoping that. I was hoping when I left there, no one would speak about that.
I did my research.
Please explain who you ran water for.
No, I've got on good authority there was a couple of tries in one of those games.
For me? You? Nah. When for me playing footy, I was on the back end actually. I did a year in Queensland playing footy up there, and from Queensland to Sydney, and then Sydney back to Canberra. And there's a guy, his name's Luke Sharma, who's brothers of Matt Sharma, who played for Gold Coast Titans. He runs a rugby page called Sharma Rugby League Recruitment. So I actually went to France to play rugby league, which is very new there and real different.
Yeah.
And I think at the time, I'd just gotten back from Sydney. I didn't really have any job, I guess, that I needed to stay back for and keep me down. And I was looking to travel overseas and retire from footy. So I was looking to try and get at least, if I wasn't going to get signed in the big days, in the big dogs, I was looking to use it as a means of travel. So I'd applied for this ad that he put up for, it was a rugby league team in France and looking to grow the game there. And you kind of had to have a certain level of experience to apply. So you had to have played either NRL or in the Queensland Cup and New South Wales competition, which is like reserve grade for NRL. So I was lucky enough that just by chance I'd gone up to Queensland to play for Sunshine Coast Falcons, who compete in the Queensland Cup, who reserve grade for Melbourne Storm. So that I put all that on my resume, even though I was only there for 1 year. I was just I put that straight on there. It was like my first thing, and then I sent that off, and then I just got a reply. I think it was within a week. It was so quick to say, "Hey mate, the club's interested. What are your chances of thinking of going? They'll do your visa, they'll fly you up, pay for your travel and all your accommodation and stuff." And I was like, "Yeah, sweet." So I had a missus at the time, and still dating that very same person. So my girlfriend Cass, we'd been dating for only like 6 months, I think it was, and I'd turned to her and she'd actually done.
It's a tough call to move to the south of France, you know.
Mate, so she'd when we first started dating, she actually got a job up at in Sydney. So we actually ended up doing long distance almost as soon as we started dating. And she'd come back it was a year. And then in the 2 months that she came back is when I got the offer to go to France. And I was like, well, you got to go to Sydney. So am I allowed to go to France for a year? And so that it was more just trying to sort out everything that I had at that time for me to be able to go. So once I got the all clear from everything and everyone, they all got on the plane. I think I left 2018, October, and came back that following July. And it was great. It was the league's not obviously as big as the union there, so the level of footy, I guess, isn't as high, but still competitive. And and they pay for your flights and your accommodation, and they give you a house and a car up there. So it was more the competition in France, also a national comp, so you get to go to different place in France every weekend to versus a different team. So that was awesome. I never actually did a gap year or anything after school, so it was actually my first time traveling. Yeah, it was good fun. So yeah, that's what that was. Thanks for springing that on me.
And did you have to learn French?
Yeah, I was terrible. I knew actually I wasn't terrible. I knew my numbers pretty well, and I knew different
play
words.
calls and shit.
Yeah, the play calls, and we did this. We had like French lessons twice a week that you'd have to go down to, and you just pick up a couple words and I guess the way you express those words. So when someone's talking to me in French, I kind of just listening for those cues and saying, oh yeah, he's saying that maybe in this tone, and then you reply with like a one-word sentence, or you'd either try and speak English with a French accent so they don't understand you a bit, because they were pretty good with the French or with the English over there.
The Aussie,
yeah. There was
three.
Three or four boys in the team that spoke fluent English, which was a bonus because we couldn't get through without them. So
yeah, right.
Yeah,
nah, what an experience, man.
Yeah,
it
was
pretty
cool.
unreal.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And so, how did kind of music and footy come about for you? If you were playing all through school and stuff, was music always a part of that too?
Music wasn't. I went to Eddie's, so Eddie's is a big rugby union school here in Canberra. So all my dedication throughout school was to footy, and then music came along. I forgot what year I started. 2012. Hey, 2012 was ages ago now. So yeah, for that 10 years ago, I met Songs, as we said before, and it was when I was kind of figuring out footy wasn't going to be a full-time job for me. So it wasn't. Nah, it wasn't. And I think I was in and out of uni as well.
Was that the goal originally?
Originally, the goal was to try and play professional footy, but very quickly after school, I realised that wasn't happening. So
onto the vines.
Onto the onto Dub Smash.
Yeah, Dub Smash.
And then so I ended up. I was at uni. I think I was studying teaching or I think it was med science at UC at the time. And then that's when I met Songs, and he was like, "What are you doing for work?" And I can't even remember what I was doing at that time for work. And I was Glassy at Mesh, and then he said, "Yeah, we're short DJs and." Do you want to learn? So that's how I got into the DJing, and then I went to Queensland for footy, and then Sydney, then France, and then after coming back from France, I met I had one of my friends from back in the day, Simon, used to do live music around Canberra at Double Shot and Deakin, and I remember going there one day to watch him play, and he was like, "Oh, why don't you try and jump on on the gap for a gig?" So I sang for him a few times, and we got to then creating a duo together at Double Shot to play there every Sunday, and eventually I started doing my own live music gigs, and that's, I guess, that's where I really got into the entertainment music industry in Canberra, is doing live music. You got to meet venue owners, and you got to meet the managers and how things worked, and that's and then from then on maybe 2018, 2019 is when I started doing music full time. And yeah.
Really? Yeah. So you weren't like playing guitars growing up and singing?
Yeah, I think I learnt to play the guitar, I think it was like year 11 at school, maybe 12. I tried to learn a few other times, but I just sucked. And but at Eddie's, there was heaps of us 4 boys there at the school, and they could just sing. They could play the guitar. So I was like, man, I want to do that.
Really?
At school. So I ended up learning, and then it wasn't until 2019 is when I finally started making money from it.
Yeah, right.
So yeah,
that's why Double Shot shut down.
Closed it up. How about you, man? How was it just DJing, or was it like with the family too, and growing up in that sort of environment? Yeah,
I think it just all started back in church, I guess, for me.
Yeah, right.
DJing.
Hip hop.
100% MC. I guess Dad really instilled in us music. He bought us all instruments. I'm one of 6. So there was guitars, bass, drums, pianos and mics. And we were, set up to give the Jackson 5 a run for their money, but that never happened. As kids, you kind of want to do your own thing and your parents want to do one thing, I guess, with you. And music was it. You know, it was kind of, in a good way, shoved down our throats. And now we've enjoyed it since. And then, yeah, haven't really looked back. I guess DJ came along for me probably 2010. Got a controller, you know, mixed a few beats together and applied for residency at this nightclub in Townsville, and that was it.
How did you apply?
History. Oh, Messenger.
You had to send a mixtape or something? Or?
Nah, never.
Yeah.
So after that, I think for 3 years, my sets were 7-hour sets, 5-hour sets. Yeah. So I covered, you know, a lot of formats, genres, and I learnt a lot in those long sets. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a marathon, man.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a marathon. I've got a question here from Mike Lowry, but I don't think I'll read it.
Oh, someone's created an account
Yeah,
for the interview.
not the fake accounts.
So what's the format of the festival kind of? What are people going to expect?
For the Hotbox,
we've
we've got our.
Because before you go into that, what you were doing with Send It Sunday was a bit more than just a festival. It was kind of like a new way of doing it. You had, you know, dances and all sorts of things going on, which was kind of really unique and what made it look like such a fun sort of time. Yeah,
at our very first Send It Sunday was, I guess, the chance to try and do something. Well, I guess I'd lived in Sydney for a year, and they used to have this thing called One Day Sunday, and I'd been there a couple of times. Just the best thing ever. And
I've DJ'd one.
Yeah, we get it. You're a UMG All Star.
Wow.
So I think Slim also DJ'd.
Yeah. Slim hooked that all up. Shout out Slim.
So I was in that time coming back out of COVID, I was like, what can I do that doesn't really happen here in Canberra? And one of them was Sunday sessions. And so I knew that every time you go to like a festival kind of event, it's all about who's playing and what DJs are on and who you're going to see. But at the time, I didn't know anyone of that caliber to put on and say, come and see this person. So I needed to try and find a mad spot in Canberra where, you know, if during that summertime was going to be, you know, good weather and a good feel and good vibe of the venue and what it was going to be like, and make sure we got like, and using other elements of the event to sell tickets in terms of like drink specials and merchandise and
local artists.
Yeah, local artists, and trying to really be big on supporting local small businesses. It wasn't just that we were working on local DJs. The fact that we were going to use local photographers and videographers anyway, but then just the excuse to say, you know, we're actually using local photographers and we're supporting local business and people around in Canberra who are just like us starting out, ended up being a really big selling point for the event. And I guess it wasn't really planned that would be the biggest selling point of the event, but then it just turned out that everyone else got around, you know, us supporting, you know, just other people. And so then it got to the point where I could put up a Send It Sundays and give no information of who's going to play and what was going to be there, but use the basis of supporting local businesses as our selling point. And we'd sell out 2 weeks before the event, and then once we sold out is when then I released the DJ lineup. So I used to always release it late because it wasn't about the DJs, it was about I guess the experience that we could provide, and it was more about the customers coming to the event and them being responsible for having a good time, not us. I wasn't responsible for giving them the entertainment. It was them coming and making sure that they had a good time by just the experience that was there on offer and putting that to the best use. So and I ended up, I think we've done 5 or 6 now Send It Sundays, which have been pretty good. Our biggest one being at Thoroughbred Park. There was one week where we always held it at Rose Cottage, but it was scheduled to rain and storm on that Sunday. And it was the Monday of the event weekend, and I was just terrified that it was going to be able to go ahead. So I do live music for Thoroughbred Park when they have some of their events. So I called up Robbie, who's one of the event organisers, and said, hey, mate, I've got this event on Sunday that it's going to get rained out and it's outdoors. Can I come in and have a look at the venue space you've got and see if I can hire something from you guys? And he was like, sweet. So I went in on that Monday and then sorted that out. On the Tuesday, we released that the venue was going to change. And I thought the backlash of that last minute change was going to do it worse, but I think we'd sold out at that time of like 400 tickets, and by the time the week ended, we hit 800, and it was massive.
I think 2 out of 6 of your shows have been rained out.
Yeah, so there's been a couple of shows where I just had to push through, and more so just because that there's so much that rides on having the event, and there's local business that are also and DJs wanting the work, and our photographers that we've booked in and promised them that this is going to be an opportunity for you to make money, and as much as we hate putting people in the rain, it was a juggle between making sure, making sure we were able to look after our customers, but also able to look after the small businesses that were involved. So yeah, that was our selling point, and I had heaps of questions from people saying, how did you plan this so well, and like, how did you come up with the idea? And I honestly was just like, I didn't. It just
1 week turnaround.
Literally 1 week turnaround, change venue, straight out of COVID. It's just what I wanted to do. It wasn't that we planned it before COVID, and then COVID happened. Then we're like, oh yeah, let's come up with this at the end. It was literally just, we're free to do stuff now. Let's just do it. And we're just thankful that there was no festivals or anything going on at the time. So I think people were dying to do something in that sense. Yeah. So it was just good time, and it's just gone really well since. So that was, I guess, the start of everything. And now coming to Hotbox was, we really wanted to brand it as a music festival. The Sunday sessions was cool, and you'd be able to just kind of lay under the radar, so you didn't actually have to compete with any of the bigger events. It could be that, we're going to this music festival, but let's just go to this Sunday session before or after. So then in creating Hotbox, we obviously needed to brand it as a music festival, which immediately put us in competition with every other music festival of 20,000 people. So we couldn't rely on...
Which they're popping up a lot now.
It's
looking to be more certain.
Oh, yeah.
I think before we started Send It Sundays, it was Spilt Milk and GTM in Canberra at the time. And I think there was Splendor and Listen Out and Field Day. Now there's like Lunar Electric. I think Festival X just dropped their lineup. That's massive. There's heaps. There's heaps on
yeah, well, it's interesting you were saying the sort of local aspect that you guys are taking, and it seems like that's a bit of a shift since the before it was these like big conglomerates coming around doing touring festivals, they were big productions, but now there's popping up the more niche festivals, like the just dance music, like underground dance music, and then you've got the reggae stuff. Yeah. So it's kind of a shift in the way maybe festivals are becoming more localised, which is really cool. Yeah.
I think it's important because with the already festivals that have, a name for themselves these days, you really got to try and find your niche or your that X factor about your event that people are going to want to come to. So you've got things like Promised Land, who are now Afro beats and reggae and R&B, which a couple of years ago I don't think they ever had that. It was always just dance music and hip hop. And so in creating our lineup was what hasn't come to Canberra, which was always going to be tricky because maybe there's a reason why it hasn't come to Canberra, or maybe someone just hasn't done it properly. Yeah. So in creating a Hotbox lineup, we couldn't rely on the local business support anymore. We had to try and actually get into the game and start selling some real tickets. And so that was how we eventuated to then relying on our lineup to try and sell it to the people. And
it's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it because you've sold out the first release.
Yeah, we sold out early birds.
And if I was putting on festivals, I'd be like worried no one would ever show up.
Oh, it's hard.
It would be stressful.
Yeah. It's really about the brand and the product. So who we are and what we represent, and then also what we have to offer. It's no longer about them. Send It Sundays is all about local business and the customers view. Now it's all about what we can give them, and it's a much more difficult selling point when you're responsible for everything. So, but it's good, it's fun, and it's enjoyable, and I guess the differences, the different variety in ways you can sell tickets. Is the real challenge, and you've really got to love that aspect of it to make sure that it's a success.
The real hustle aspect of it.
That's right.
Yeah. Try and dig it out. But no, it's looking great so far. So should be a good day.
We're just over a week and a bit now to go, and we'll be at Exhibition Park on that Saturday, 4th of June.
Yeah, I've chucked the link in the description, guys. So check it out if you can below. But I've got word that we got Tees in the chat.
T who?
Shout out Tees. What's
Tees.
going on, brother?
I don't know. That's all I know. He said you'd like that. But,
one of the boys from up north. He's manager at that Bank nightclub now, so yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Still repping it up there.
100%.
Good to see. And what about the DJ stuff coming up? What else have we got planned for Canberra as clubs?
I think, like I said a bit earlier, I got support act from Mason Dane and Mr. C.
Yeah.
So that'll be good this Friday night at Fiction. But apart from that, I'm kind of taking a step back.
And the big man's retiring from the club scene.
Yeah, club scene.
So that's official.
It's definitely happening. And I'll just be doing Senate Sundays moving forward.
Really?
Yeah.
So what's the final residency at Fiction going to look like?
Oh, sober.
The big farewell.
Yeah, you got to do something, man. You got to put one on.
Yeah, I'm going away the next day with my family, so that'll be good.
No, that's cool, man. You've done a huge service to Canberra over these years, so people will be sad to see you go, I'm sure.
They'll be happy. They can take my spot now.
Did you play the last set of Academy as well? Or was that was
I did.
Yeah, you did.
I did do a lot.
Oh, really?
The last, was that upstairs Candy Bar?
Candy Bar.
Yeah,
and then they
that night, that
and that
final
was
night.
it. Then in came the new ones, Fiction.
Fiction, that's funny. Yeah.
So what club do you feel most attached to or like connected to through your time in Canberra?
Monkey Bar, 100%.
Monkey Bar.
Yeah.
He's there all the time.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess, like I said, spend enough time there, it becomes your second home. you know, and the people around it who made it what it was always.
And what was special about that place? 'Cause it always came up, and it is it still there? It's
No,
changed names.
so COVID kind of shut that place down. So they tried to stick it out, but in the end they just couldn't deal with that, all that. And I don't know, just I guess the boys there, the owners, Rod and Chris, just always looked after their DJs, as in, not just the free drinks, but like if you ever need anything outside of, the club, they're always there for you. There's just that extra reach, and it just made it feel like a second home, I guess. Couldn't complain about that.
If I ever wasn't DJing and out, Monkey Bar was always the place you go to when these guys were there, that it's going to be good R&B, good hip hop music, or the jams. It was just that one spot that no matter what night it was, when the guys were on, they were on. So you definitely make your way out there if you could.
Yeah, because Mesh left a big hole, and
Yeah,
that's kind of
that
what
R&B
that's
scene
kind of what
and hip-hop
fueled it
stuff.
and kept it going.
Yeah, a lot of the kids, I guess the new DJs play a bit cooler stuff in terms of all the new.
It's more, it's definitely changed.
Yeah, it's changed a lot.
It's more what's trending on TikTok and Instagram nowadays.
We had Brittany DeMarco in here, and she said the exact same thing. That it's definitely a noticeable change in what's it been like the last couple of years or last year?
Over the last couple of years, easily. It's gone from what's trending to, what actually, sounds good, I guess. So to speak.
No one plays So Fresh 2005 anymore.
Summer hits.
That's what we need.
That's
back
all on my.
06 summer hits.
Yeah, the mix CD.
I think when I finished DJing, when I went to play footy in Queensland, I hadn't updated my laptop since I left. So I think in 3 years I came back and I think I jumped. Yeah, I jumped.
you-
My first set was at Treehouse actually on my comeback, and some of the boys went to come watch, and all I had on my playlist was nothing new, just
Of
all
Neo.
the old Neo,
So sick.
so sick, Nathaniel, and it was the worst set ever, just because everyone was like, "What is this music?"
Yeah.
We don't know
No,
what
I think
this
you
is.
left when Playground was open.
Yeah, I
You
came back and it
was
closed. That was the biggest devastating moment of my life.
It's funny with like R&B and hip hop in clubs, in that it is the stuff that has been like timeless.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
weird. Like you don't have that as much with dance music and stuff, where it's just the songs have lasted
Yeah.
so much. And I guess that's
classics.
kind of good and bad as a DJ, because everyone wants those classics. But the R&B hole is a bit. There's not much new stuff coming out. So, anything else we should touch on before we wrap up tonight?
I'll be wrapping up. That's gone quick as.
That's gone quick, yeah. No, it always flies by. But yeah, that's everything I wanted to touch on. I was keen to hear about your overseas trips.
France trip.
Yeah,
No, you caught me off guard there.
yeah. we were hoping to get some of the guys that phoning in. They didn't.
Yeah, they've
come up. Nah.
ended up pulling out.
Yeah.
Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
They just the time difference is.
Yeah, he's got a big album he's trying to promote. Like he's a bit busy. Yeah.
So
Bloody Kendrick.
But I would really like to see a hip hop fest from you guys. Like that would be fucking rad in Canberra.
it's coming.
It's definitely happening.
Get the exclusive.
100%.
Yeah, we do have. We've actually caught a deal with ACT Events here in Canberra, so we've locked in a few dates, 4 or 5 dates to make sure that we put 4 or 5 festivals on.
No way.
So
Exclusives.
that would be if we can pull that off, and we'll try and go a different genre obviously next time, and hopefully it's hip hop R&B kind of.
So 5 of these.
We've got
big lineups.
5 dates where we that are coming around the corner, where we can put on festivals here in Canberra with spaces that Events ACT run, which is like Exhibition Park, same place that the GTM, Commonwealth Park, all those big venues. So
that's huge, man. That's gonna keep
it's
you
big.
guys
It's
fucking
exciting.
busy. Yeah.
So if everything works out, it should be good to go.
We've got a few questions coming in.
Someone just tried to call me. I think they're trying to get online.
Answer it, man. Let's see what it
It's
is.
just one of the boys. 2.
What songs do you have on repeat now at the moment?
Burner Boy, last.
Neo Sexy Love. My genre of music doesn't change.
Nah, you still got
That's my
fresh.
playlist.
So fresh on repeat.
If I could do, one of my graphic designers, Caroline, we always spoke about doing a slow jam R&B. I don't know if it's going to be ever event to a festival, but an event where it's Boys to Men, Brian McKnight.
That's your dream.
My dream is to pull off
Headline.
a sell out a 500-person show, and all the music is Tevin Campbell.
Yeah.
All the Boys to Men, or just the slow jams R&B night. That would be my.
But what about like a festival?
I don't know if you could do
in terms of your lineup, your dream lineup.
My dream lineup. Oh, geez. I'd love to do a Snoop Dogg, Chris Brown, something like that.
Yeah.
Like a Superfest.
I'd love to do a super festival like that, or like the R&B Fridays that they did
They
a
used to
couple
do.
years ago. It was Trey Songz.
Yeah.
That's obviously the goal.
Yeah.
Well, who knows? I might be retired by then. By the
GIO
time-
Stadium.
GIO Stadium.
Or the new stadium that
that's
David
right.
Pocock's going to build us. Hopefully he gets in. We'll see. But,
Something like that. It'd be good to do. Obviously, the standard of Spilt Milk and Groove in the
GTM,
Moon.
And would you like to
Festival X,
branch out of Canberra, like do those touring?
Yeah, I'd love to
ones and
do.
stuff,
Which was
yeah.
funny because we had in doing these events, you learn that artists won't come for one show, right? Some of them, prefer to say, you know what, I'll come for this, but we've then got 6 months worth of things they can benefit from. You'll find that especially the bigger artists, they won't ever just say, oh yeah, come to Hotbox Music Festival and that's it. They'll say, look, we'll come to Hotbox Music Festival, but then you've then got to tour us so we can have like 4 or 5 different shows in the country before leaving. They really want to make it worth their while. So definitely going on tour in Australia for a festival would be probably, I guess, the next realistic goal for Rok Musiq and Mr. Ink. So that's definitely on the cards and was almost possible. We just kind of ran out of time. So definitely with I guess our next ones come in, depending on who we get and their wants to tour Australia is going to be really cool, and I can't wait to do that.
Who you got your eyes on? Future artists?
Nah, we're not thinking anyone on the scale of America, but we really want to nail, I guess, the Australian market first, and work our way slowly through that before we then head on to.
How has it been like getting these international acts and doing that logistically, like at a time, when it is still tricky to travel around.
Yeah, it is.
Lock it in.
Yeah, in terms, there was a few artists that we really wanted to have on the show that aren't vaccinated and they're unable to enter the country. So
name and shame.
It takes in consideration everything in terms of if they're even allowed in the country, the passports and their visas, working out visas. It's a whole new compared to Centre Sundays where I just you're in a 5-minute drive.
Southside,
it's so, there's so much involved in organising flights, transfers, accommodation, travel, and then their visas and working in the fee that they have for what they are willing to do for shows. It's such a new experience for me, but great to learn in, because once we nail obviously the agencies here in Australia, which are also massive anyway, and just getting the experience of knowing what to say and knowing how to negotiate and make deals, then hopefully can take it to even further overseas.
Bigger and better.
Yeah, bigger and better. That's the plan anyway. It's in no rush. But, first of all, we just want to knock out Hotbox Festival, make sure this is something that really puts our name in the industry and on the map for people and for artists to hopefully see what we can do. Our production is going to be of the level where current festivals are at now, which is one of the other biggest things we wanted to make sure that our artists knows that when they come to Hotbox, they come into a full professional setup. So can't wait to see how Hotbox goes and take it good from there.
Yeah, me too. Well, thank you so much for popping in.
Thanks for having us,
Flats lads, and
thanks for having us.
Thanks to AR too for teeing this up. It's been awesome chatting, and stay tuned and get over to Hotbox and
get your damn tickets.
Yeah, get your tickets. But all the best, lads, and we'll catch you next time.
Catch up.